Well, guys, here we are again, Dozer and I, back out in the woods. It is, God, I don't even hardly know what day it is. I think it's like Wednesday. I have been studying hard at home and decided to get out. We're supposed to be under a hurricane, which really kind of didn't turn out. We've had a ton of rain the last 2 days, though, just steady downpours, steady drizzle. And you know, storms now and again, but it really has passed and it's supposed to clear this afternoon. So looks like the hurricane missed us, and I thought I'd get out this afternoon and just see if any mushrooms came out. So Dozer and I are going to hit the trail and see what we can find. Beautiful day. The temperature's down around 78, 77. So the cloud cover is keeping that temp down, but it is getting humid now that the rains have stopped. Oh, look at there. There's our first volunteer. What is that? Oh, that's a bullet. Oh, yeah. There's the stem. That is a bitter bolete. A beautiful mushroom. Boy, it's in great shape too. If he was edible, he'd be a perfect one to take home. However, well, they are edible, I guess. However, they are so bitter that you're just not going to be able to eat them. They fooled me once. There is a white bolete. Actually, there's a couple different variations of white boletes that are edible and are very good. And when I first moved here, I thought maybe I had found them. And in the process of identifying, I narrowed it down to a few species, all of which were edible. And sliced one up, put a little bit in a pan, and very quickly knew I didn't have what I was hoping for. Because when you find them, they are super bitter. So let's see here. That's the direction we came. What's that? Oh, watch it, lizard, watch it. Just one lonely little mushroom down in there. Well, we're out of that kind of sandy, open palm area here. And getting into some more trees, so that ought to give us maybe a little better results, because so far that one big white one and a few loose small ones is all we've seen. Kind of an odd shaped one. It's like it kind of split here, but here's its counterpart. Another white bolete. Beautiful little mushroom. Unfortunately, I would wager with you that one is too bitter to eat as well. So on we go. Oh, what's that? You guys can see that. See if I can zoom in for you. Right there. Let's go check that out. Oh wow, I see more too. Okay, what do we got here? There's actually more over there. Ha, I think it's those white boletes again. Sure it is. Wow, look at that. Holy cow, here's another one. And then here. And then there. What is that? Here's another one. But look at this, you guys. Sorry about the camera shake there. Oh yeah. Now I don't know if you can see that. That's got a brown cap and kind of a cream colored pores underneath. That one is very, very bitter. Let's see what this guy's got here. I'm gonna pop one of these. All right, yeah, so we've got it's slightly brown, kind of a tan color. And then, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but those pores are almost a mildly pink cream color. And those, sadly, as beautiful as they are very bitter. So that is a very young one coming up here, and I actually see some more coming up in the woods here. But that's a young one. And then here's one back in here. And then as they get older, then they'll get that brown colored cap to them. There's a couple other older ones back here. This is a great find. Unfortunately, it's just not, they're just not edible. So I'm going to take a couple pictures of these just for the record and get back on the trail. I got some pictures, but I did see this out of the corner of my eye. Just one. Now this is interesting. Okay, so we got yellow. I think that's Boletus campestris, but I'm not positive. The stem is not turning blue. I'm going to take that one home for a little further ID. The cracked cap and the yellow pores make me think it's campestris, but it should turn blue right away, and I don't know if the moisture, how wet it is, if that affects that mushroom, but that's very interesting. What's this over here? Look at these guys. Now these are yellow, and that is a bolete. Now they have kind of a yellowish hue to them. I'm going to take 5 here and get this one mushroom in the bag and get reorganized. Be right back. All right, guys. I ended up taking. Oh, almost lost my glasses. My cheaters. I almost, or ended up taking one of those yellow ones. I found those on a trail recently. The Dozer and I explored, and I had not found an ID yet. I just taken a couple pictures of them, and I hadn't brought one home. So I'm going to take one of those home today, so I get a better view of it. The nice thing about taking a sample home is that. You know, you've got it in hand, so you can compare the stem. So for example, that one, the stem was very narrow, right from the ground all the way to the cap. So very narrow, kind of spindly, had a unique yellow color to it. I didn't see any bluing. That doesn't mean it doesn't, because I didn't break it apart or, you know, really mess with it too much. But initially I didn't notice any bruising. And so it's nice sometimes to bring them home, because then you can really take a look at them with your reference guides and you know, get a good feel for it. Plus you can do a spore print on them as well. So, which of course a little hard to do. What do you got, bud? A little hard to do with just pictures. So we're getting back in the backside here of this. definitely getting less traveled, which means we should see some more mushrooms, and or hopefully should see some more mushrooms. I'm hoping that the bugs aren't bad now that the rain has stopped. I'm afraid they might come out in force. If they do, they will push us out of here because, of course, I forgot to bring bug spray. Kind of a rookie move right there, but we'll see how they are. So far, not so bad. So, and hopefully it doesn't get too wet. It is getting a little spongy in some areas, but hopefully not too bad. So, back on the trail we go. Man, it is getting wet. The trail itself is getting pretty wet. You can see here, that's all water. Looks like it might get a little bit drier up ahead, so we'll keep pushing through. I did notice this, however. Quite a mix of mushrooms here. I'll explore those a little further here in a minute. But look back here. You see them? All the way back in there. You hear the birds just a-singing. Back in there, guys. These run way back into the woods there. There's a, oh, well, look at that. Now, there's a find. It's an indigo. Oh, that is a wonderful find. That is an indigo. That is an edible mushroom. And a wonderful find. I almost didn't step back in here. He seems to be a loner, though. Oh, nope, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. There's him. There's him. All right, guys. Ooh, the mosquitoes are finding me. All right, I'm going to get my bag out and do a little bit of foraging here. Let's get a separate bag for those guys, huh? Get a paper towel in there to soak up some moisture. Keep it dry, keep it dry. Little paper towel in the bag today, just to help keep them dry. All right, let's head back out the way we came. I could push farther back in there, but it's pretty wet, and I don't really feel like getting that wet this early in the game. So we'll keep moving. This is what caught my eye. And then as I started pushing or looking back in there, realized there was quite a bit more back in there. Getting wet, huh, bud? Man, look at these boletes. Ah, great. Really? Really? Hey, you big brat. Alright, let's look now. Man, there's a lot of old ones in here. Where this water is. See, these are tore up. All tore up. bunch of those in here. I'm really hoping to find some chanterelles today in some of this higher ground. So far that has not been the case, but I'm an optimist. This is really, really wet back in here. These are all pretty old, so not gonna bother with them. Feel, whoa, woohoo! Almost had a man down scenario there. Sorry, guys. I'll tell you what, that gets your blood pumping. Let's tell you what, mushroom hunting, very dangerous sport. All you extreme sports people thinking, okay, it's just a mushroom hunter. Yeah, pretty dangerous business. Let's check in here. This is a little drier up in here. And yet, I don't see much here. There's something. The problem we're hitting is it's getting wet in here. Let's take a look at the underbelly of these here. Oh yeah, those are boletes. I don't even have to. You can see them there. Yep. Man, are they wet. Alright, I don't see anything in here of any interest. Let's keep on moving. Nice looking mushroom. That one bruises. That one's been eaten on him. Oh yeah. Bugs. Can you see him? We'll leave him be. This just dead ends. Actually, Dozer and I did a little bit of a kind of a day camp in here one time. Cooked lunch in here with some wild forage greens. I didn't bring my little stove today, otherwise we could probably do it today. Add in some mushrooms, but wasn't sure how long we'd get without rain. Come on, bud. So I packed pretty light. This is basically a in and out scenario. Theoretically, we'll see. It is starting to rain right now, so I may end up trying to find some cover here pretty soon. Oh, there's a nice one. The young one. And there's his older brothers. Don't see anything else around. Yeah, if it gets too rainy, we're going to have to ditch here, so. But we'll keep going until we figure that out. What do you think, bud? What do you sniff? Stay out of there. Hey, there's water back there. You stay out of there. Yeah, leave it alone. Hardwood there. Ah! Big web. Spider webs, don't like them. They're probably out for an after rain meal. There's an old bolete. Check that out, guys. That's cool. Look at the color on him. Oops. Beautiful. There's an old bolete all spored out. Oh, there's a young one. Other side of the road. So as you stay back, you can see here we've got some water, and so I'm being real careful with Dozer. But look at this little guy here. And he's got another friend right up by the water, but we're gonna leave that one alone because I'm gonna bend down to get this one. Oh yeah. That's a beauty. But we're going to leave the other one. So one thing, if you guys pay attention to my videos, I'm not too overly concerned with the gators. But there are some things that we just don't do. You know, we don't let Dozer down in the water without really looking for gators. And we definitely don't walk up to the water, bend down, and pick things up out of it. So, just a couple safety precautions. If you're going to work around these things, they pretty much leave you alone. I mean, I've never had a problem all my time out here. However, I take some cautions and certainly don't do anything too crazy. Something back in there. He's pretty spongy. I'm going to leave him. Sorry for the camera shake, guy. I was reaching in there to get that. I left him standing. I could feel he was pretty wet and soggy. The young one that I got right before that, though, was nice and firm. The young buttons, like I've said before in my videos, they don't seem to absorb as much of the moisture as quickly. And so that's a perfect addition. So we're finding a ton of mushrooms. And my guess is if we came out here, give it a day or two after the rain, and came out, you know, we'd get some good new young ones. A lot of these are older, and they are, sorry, I'm distracted here, just kind of looking in the woods edge. They're older and they're very wet, and so we've left a lot go. But I'll tell you, you know, just by what we've seen so far, you could see if a person was looking for a meal or two, or to fill up a jar with some dehydrated ones. Hit this at the right time, it wouldn't take you long at all. And I'm not even pushing back into the edge of the woods. I'm pretty much staying tight to the trail. There's a couple smaller ones back in there. I don't think you can see them from here. Real small ones. But I'm not pushing back in just because so far I haven't had to. And I've told you guys before, I'm kind of a lazy forager, lazy hunter. I enjoy doing it, and I don't want to be miserable. And so if I can stick to the trail, find mushrooms, stay a little bit drier, stay out of the snakes and bugs, then I'll do that. Now don't get me wrong, for the right flush, if there was a flush of chanterelles in there, we're going in. But so far I haven't seen anything that would make me want to push back in. Look at that, guys. There's the old one there. Young one coming up underneath it. And for those of you unaware, I'm not overly fond of spiders, so if I have to crawl through the spider webs, yeah, I kind of pick and choose. Not afraid to tell you that. How you doing, bud? They're pretty. All sorts of new mushrooms today. I don't know about new, but different than what we've been finding up till now. It's amazing what that rain brings out. There's a couple larger versions of them. The rain has stopped, so that's a good thing. Thought maybe I'd have to hide underneath a couple palm trees, but so far, well, look at that little sucker hiding in there. Oh, stay back. He wants to get in that water, but I can hear stuff splashing in there. Based on the bubbles, my guess is there was a little gator sitting on that bank, which is the splashing that I've heard. Sorry, I'm wiping my face a little bit here. All right, off we go. Apple snails. Actually, a couple shells along here. I've seen a couple. Not overly afraid of me. Look at here. A lot of these really dainty red ones. You can tell here we have gotten, I mean, we're still along the water, but the ground level has certainly come up. There's a bank now from the river coming up. I really expected to find more mushrooms back. Look at this guy sneaking out in between the rains. It's a little camera shy. I had expected to find more mushrooms, I guess, down by that water and that low land. We did in the beginning, but as we got deeper in, didn't find much. You'll notice the trees have changed, mostly palm trees now. I'm seeing a ton of those little red mushrooms. I'm not seeing many hardwoods in here. We do have some pines. And, you know, one of the things as you hunt for mushrooms, you do start to associate different things with different trees. Certainly the boletes like the hardwoods. And, you know, in Minnesota, I could see a field all full of grass, and if there was popple trees in the middle in July or August, I'd be headed for that. Because a lot of times the aspen boletes would hide in there, and we filled many baskets that way. Here I'm still learning, so it takes time. How you doing, bud? You getting hot? That swim didn't help much, huh? Ooh, big buzz. Look at those big guys. Got a friend over here, too. New addition to the day. There's like a birthday balloon or something way back in there. I'm not going to push back into the woods to try to get to it, but odd place. I suppose it got away from a party and floated back here. And mosquitoes are starting to come out now. Flies. Oh, here's some young ones. These guys are all just coming out. Look at that. And then down in there, look at that. Beautiful. There's another one. Man, these things are all over. It is too bad those are not edible. They are. I have found so many of those today. I'd be able to fill quite a nice jar full of dehydrated mushrooms with that. Now, every now and again when you're doing this, you start to doubt yourself. So, on those last young ones that we found, after I shut the camera off, I actually went back and just did a taste test on it. And they were so bitter. Not good. So, not able to eat them. All right. What do you think, buddy? What's that down there? Nothing. Oh, there's some coral. That's the first coral I've seen. sorry about that. There's coral that I've seen since we've moved to Florida. Now the crown tip coral, that's an edible mushroom. It's a little group of something. Those are pretty, those corals that we just found are pretty small. They can get really large. But they're pretty small. They're not anything we're going to mess around with. Had they been larger, I might have checked out the ID on it and seen if that was a crown tip. I'll check out the little ones at home once I watch the video. Leave it alone, bud. Leave it alone. Whatever it is, leave it alone. We're starting to find a few mushrooms back in here. It gets pretty wet, pretty low ground, so again, I don't know what we'll find back in here for edibles, but figure it's worth checking out. If you hear me flopping around back here, because we're going through some trees and there's flies are coming out, it's getting a little buggy. That's me swatting at them. Plus my eyes are getting sweat running in. It's pretty hot out here all of a sudden. That rain stopped and that humidity kicked in. Look at that. There's a beaut. Beautiful mushroom. Sadly, well, there's a couple buttons coming up too. Those are also boletes. Sadly, they are all those bitter boletes, so apparently this is their time of year. Good to know. Ever get the feeling you're being watched? Feels pretty good, huh? Get a drink? That's quite the way to get a drink. Ready for the road? Whew, I'll tell you what, guys. Hot. Sun's not out. Peaked out a little bit, but that temperature is rising really quick. So, I mean, it should only be about 85, but the humidity is pretty heavy. So we just hit a trail that cuts back to the parking lot where the truck is. And there's a wooded area back here along the cow pasture. That's really where I want to get to before we quit today. I was unable to get to the back side of this. There's about a 2-mile trail that I have yet to be on. It's either always too hot or or today I would have had to cross the river, and I just didn't feel like taking everything, socks and boots off, and making that crossover. Finding plenty of mushrooms on this trail, so we're going to sit here and hydrate and cool down just for a few minutes, get a little snack, and then we're going to get back on the trail. Just enjoy the day. What the heck is that? Oh, look at there. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. Now I am not sure, but I believe that jack-o'-lanterns are here in Florida. And if I had to make a field guess on that mushroom, I would say jack-o'-lanterns. Now, if any of you watching know different, that'd be fabulous. And I'll definitely look them up when I get home. But I've ran into jack-o'-lanterns a few times. Of course, those that you know them, they are poisonous. They also glow in the dark, so it's kind of unique as well. But that's what they look like to me. They're pretty old, pretty beat up, but that's what it looks like. Really old ones in here. Oh, a hider. Look at this guy. Hiding inside the stump. Whoops, sorry. Pretty blurry there. Fighting mosquitoes. See, the dragonflies are out. That's good. Hopefully they'll eat a few of those mosquitoes. Take a few off me. Remember my rule, guys. Always take time to admire the butterflies. Life is short. Got to enjoy the beauty. Tell you what, guys. I've seen a ton. There must have just been a hatching of these things. Because I have seen a ton of them. And for those who aren't sure, that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you get more grasshoppers. I'm going to have to rate this PG-13 now. Now, in the comments, there has been a couple people that have messaged me or sent a note, you know, just commenting that they typically kill those. And just for the record, I don't kill really anything that doesn't attack me or that I don't plan on eating. It's just kind of a rule that I have. I don't, I really don't give anybody guff if that's different than their rule. But my personal rule is, if I'm not going to eat it, I don't kill it. With the exception of, if it comes after me, then the game's on. So, man, right through here, guys, I'm not filming them, but there are grasshoppers everywhere. So, apparently there was just a hatching not long ago. Oh, they're just teasing us, guys. Just teasing us. They are just teasing us. Too bitter to eat, but we're going to find some more up here too, I think. You guys can hear the road. We've moved over a little closer to the road. Sadly, too bitter to eat. And heading over towards a little pasture area, I want to move alongside. But finding a ton of those today. So far the rain's held. Got a little breeze picking up. I think the temperature dropped a couple degrees, and which means there's probably rain moving around. And so hopefully the rain will hold off a little while. And we just sniff, buddy. Oh, look at that. One little bolete. So hopefully the rain will hold just a little bit longer. Hike in here a ways. Check out this hardwood area next to the grazing land, and that I think will be a day. Man, I'm telling you what, guys, if only those were edible. They're just everywhere. Just everywhere. No, don't eat the grass. That looks similar to that other one that we found earlier. Let's flip him over. Oh, he's very wet. Interesting. Old and mostly eaten. Something chewed on top of him. Well, it's not as peaceful back here or in this area as it was way in the backside of this woods. We're close to the highway now. Usually, even that highway is pretty quiet, but seems to be pretty busy today. But I am finding lots of mushrooms on the way back. We haven't even hit this, again, this hardwood area that I'm looking for. And so I'm feeling pretty good about this. I think we'll find some mushrooms back here. Tell just by the looks of them. Those are guild mushrooms. Oops, sorry guys, snagged in the greenbrier there. Not one that I'm familiar with. Now that's something you'll notice in my videos. I have admitted many times I am not a mushroom expert. I just love hunting them. Oh wow, look at this, guys. A bit older version of those bitter boletes. Again, not a mushroom expert. Just love hunting them. I love learning about them, discovering new ones. That's the younger version of those white or bitter boletes. You'll notice how white that one is compared to the others. And I haven't delved real far into the guild mushrooms. there's so many variations and so many different things you have to take into account when IDing them. And there's so many mushrooms that you can hunt that are edible and more easy to identify. Even the boletes, although there's so many variations of them, you know, you can identify a few species or subspecies that you know are edible, and then kind of work with it from there. And you know, there are certainly some guild mushrooms, those indigos, that you know, that you can easily identify, you know, once you know what you're looking for, and once you know what lookalikes there are, and how to tell the difference between them. So just, you know, find some mushrooms that you really like in your area that are easy to identify. Make sure you confirm it with multiple resources and a local expert, and then go look for those. And every time you're out, take a couple photos of some new stuff and try to identify them. And you'll find pretty quickly your the group of mushrooms that you know expand. Those. Now that one is growing out of an old cow patty. I have a feeling he is probably edible, but not from a meal standpoint. But Dozer and I, we don't mess around with those too much. All right, on we go. Well, you can see our trail got a little bit wet there, so we had to work our way around. But I wanted to show you this. This was kind of neat. These guys are just coming up. Look at that guy, huh? Type of reishi. Beautiful mushrooms. Look at over here. And one straggler. Whoops, sorry guys, flies biting me on the hand. You can see now our woods is changing a little bit. We're definitely getting some more hardwoods and a little bit higher ground. And with that, we are seeing more and more mushrooms. So we're just entering into this area. Again, I had to get through that low wet area. I can see mushrooms back off in the woods a little bit. Nothing that is inspiring me to go pursue them yet. But again, we just got into this area, so I'm hoping for good things back here. I shouldn't say that, because usually when you think you got nature figured out, she throws you curveballs. So we'll see. But either way, it is absolutely beautiful back in here. That's the guy we're looking for right there. Although he is a little too big and a little bit too old. Huh. I tell you, we're finding lots of mushrooms. The problem so far is that one of them, here's that pasture land. Now we're not going in there, obviously. Private property. But I was hoping to maybe find something along the edge of this pasture land. Guess we'll find out. So far, tons of mushrooms. Unfortunately, they are all the bitter boletes. So I'm not finding much back in here of relevance, unfortunately. But we'll keep looking. Well, guys, like I said, never say you've got things figured out, because that is when you know you don't. Got some tiny little buttons in there. I felt pretty good about coming back into these hardwoods here, and thought for sure that I would find some mushrooms back here. I have found mushrooms. I'm finding, you know, just scattered mushrooms here. You know, varying species. Again, finding a lot of the bitter boletes. But my target today is hopefully some chanterelles. Really, the chanterelle cinnabaris, which I do find around here occasionally. And I had really hoped to get lucky today and find that. But since we're getting kind of to the end of my path, that does not seem to be the case. Which is fine. We've found a ton of mushrooms here. So, you know, this is hunting. This is getting out in the woods and doing some nice hiking, doing some exploring, and you never know what you're going to find. Sometimes you don't find anything. Sometimes you find the mother lode. So we're going to keep poking around back here. Yeah, see here. Again, just tons of those. But not what we came for. We're going to keep poking around and see what we can find. Look at that little, just a little guy. But he is what we're after. Certainly not the chanterelles for sure. But as a backup plan, a few of those Boletus campestris will provide us with dinner tonight. And I am not opposed to that. Not a very big one, but those are the ones that don't have much for moisture in them. There's one hiding in there. Boy, he is well hidden in there. He's an older one though. Yeah, very mushy. The cap started to come apart just on the touch. But here you can see on these, beautiful and very firm. So again, they tend to stay that way even in the rain. So that's, although they're a little smaller than some of the ones we've harvested before, that actually ends up working out to our benefit. So what do you think you sniff in there? Nothing? You seem pretty sure about yourself. Look at that guy. That is one big artist conch. Right, bud? Can't eat him, but he's kind of cool to look at. Sometimes I wonder if he's sniffing towards mushrooms and I'm ignoring him. We are on the public property side of that razor wire, thankfully. But again, we just keep finding those. Of no use to us. But they are everywhere. It's kind of dried up. Get out of there. Don't mess with that fence, buddy. And there's a beautiful bolete. But I, of course, can't get to him. Another one of those yellow ones. That's interesting. Anyone knows what that is? Let me know. Because again, Not familiar with those. And again, these growing out of the cow patties. Now there's no ring on that at all, just a long stem. I don't know much about the happy mushrooms, but little skinny brown mushrooms are growing out of cow patties. I gotta think somebody out there knows what I just found. And whether it is what I have a feeling it might be. But again, I digress. Dozer and I are looking for dinner, not for entertainment. And more bitter beliefs. You guys noticed in my hand when I picked that little one up. I have found a few smaller ones off camera. Just lone ones like that one sitting over underneath that tree beyond the fence line. And so I picked a couple up and put them in the bag, but nothing of any real note. Interesting. Man, those are... Well, guys, never think you got nature figured out. That spot didn't pan out at all. Found a lot of mushrooms in there. A lot of the bitter boletes and some random smaller mushrooms, LBMs. For those of you just starting, if you hear the reference to LBM, that confused me when I first started out. Little brown mushrooms. In other words, we don't know what it is, and we're not going to try to identify it. So LBMs. Little brown mushrooms. Doze, where are you going? Leave the lizards alone. Come here. Leave it alone. Anyway, so it is pretty sticky. It's getting to a point of humidity where my hands hardly operate the phone anymore. So, because everything's kind of damp and wet. And it's been a great hike. We've done, I would wager right now, we're probably close to 4 miles. And got enough mushrooms for dinner. And found those blue indigos. That was a fabulous find. Those are one that I haven't found very often, and they're just a great find. Found some new mushrooms. Got some identifying to do, some learning to do, so that's great. The rain held off, so I'm really happy. The sun stayed behind the clouds, so we'll get some more rain here tonight. But if it starts to dry up, then I'll be back out on this trail again, because I think there's a lot more potential here. I think it's just really wet right now, and there's a lot of young buttons coming up, and so I think definitely worth a second visit. So I'm really glad you guys joined us today, and we'll see you next time. And I would wager that Dozer and I will will be outside doing something wild.